like, okay.
All right, I'm going to record this for people who miss it because they want to hear all of the stuff about Rise of the Demigods. Oh, here is the woman in question who's coming in. Hey, Jean Marie, it's good to see you.
Hi.
I'm so glad you're back. There's Kim.
Good evening.
Hey.
Long time no see.
Yeah. I was chastising him. I was like, where were you this morning?
Well, we got Andy on.
Yeah.
Yes, Kim. I'm gonna send you my phone, and
Yes,
whenever this happens again, you text me directly. We are on. Get to your
I
iPad
sent you a
now.
message on Messenger, but it didn't show that you saw it. So yeah.
That was so funny. You know what? I just need to set it up. I need to get everyone on Telegram because it's easier because you don't have to do it on your phone. You can do it on your computer, so you don't have to like type everything with your finger. You can do it on your computer. And then we can open the channel, and anyone can join the channel, and you can message back and forth whenever you want. It's awesome.
Is it an app, Katie? Is that what you do?
Yeah, it's just an app. So what I'll do is I'll make instructions for it this weekend and send it out on Monday. So anyone who wants to, then we can have like a chat where you guys message back and forth. Oh, here's Garrett. Oh yeah, we're getting all of our usual rock stars in here. I've been so excited for this call. I have some people over at my house for dinner, and I was like, I have to go. I have this work meeting. They're like, really?
You're here.
Yeah, I gotta go talk to some people about this book I just launched. And they're like, that sounds interesting. I was like, I know, I gotta go talk to him about it. My husband's like, you're leaving me to talk to them? And I was like, I mean, it's fine. I gotta go.
Love it. You're not leaving him. You're just giving a little bit of space within the house.
Well, my brother's
you're still in the same place.
Well, I'm in my garage. So we have a garage that's separate from our house, and we have a room. So this is what we call the office. It's the room at the back of our garage. It's all storage. But my sister-in-law is doing her PhD here. She's writing her dissertation. So he's not alone. His brother and sister-in-law are in there with my children. So there's plenty of talking points. I was like, I gotta go hang out with my favorite people. Sorry, bye. It was super nice of me as a hostess.
I love it.
Hey, Mystic is back, and so is Garrett. Oh, we've got all of our rock stars tonight. It's gonna be so good.
That's because we got to talk all about the spoilers.
I know. It's been hard in the coffee with Katie. That's why I was like, we just need to do like a book club so that anyone.
Especially this morning where we had new ones.
Debbie, yeah. So yeah, coffee with Katie Day. We had this really fun lady named Debbie, but she's only read Miss Mabel's. So everyone was like,
wow.
It was. Thank goodness I was not on. It would have driven me crazy. I was going to say,
good thing you and Andy weren't on this morning.
Oh, we got Carol. Carol, where were you today?
I had my little Ross man. I had my grandson. We were outside playing ball.
It was a nice day here. Yeah. You got to take advantage of those days.
Louise said that she didn't have anything going on because it's 5 o'clock there when it's 10 o'clock here. She's like, I don't have anything going on. Maybe I'll join you guys, but it'll be 2 a.m. So I was like, Louise, don't go Lila on us, right? She was like, I'm gonna be like Lila, and I'm gonna show up at 2.
I nearly did this morning, and then I forgot all about it because I was so focused on the book club.
Well, I was like, I have to do this at 7 because Lila has to be there. Lila's got to be there. She will be so sad if she. Oh, also, everyone, we have confirmed, and I just pulled it up myself. I'm going to put it in the messages. The Team Baxter, Team Merrick shirts are in. And I had them put it like V-neck, regular, like crew neck. Like I had them do all the colors, the V-neck, all that stuff. So you guys can pick whatever you want for whatever team you run.
I had to cheat and look this morning. They look cool.
They look really cool. So I have it. I put it in the message there, so you can click right to it if you want a Team Baxter, which says "Son of a God," or Team Merrick, says "Will you marry me?"
You know, Katie, I've just thrown Yeah, I'm just throwing this out there. You keep saying Team Baxter quite a bit. Are you trying to start something here?
Garrett, you have like this poker. You're just looking for every opportunity to stir the debate.
Attaboy, Garrett. Keep it up. Keep it up.
I just have to say, I love that the church says son of a god. So Garrett, I think you should be Team Baxter. I want you to wear a shirt that says son of a god.
Well, I
How
don't
long
want
do
to,
they-
you know.
How long do they take to ship?
Well, I know they ship international, so you can just ship right to Guatemala. You don't have to ship to your sister. And I think
Did you see my address on the VIVEET? I was looking at, because here my house is like right between the city and the outskirts. So there are like 3 different ways to write my address. But to be like really specific so that they don't mess it up, it's like 2 lines. It's and like 5 minutes later, it's like the longest address ever.
it's fine
I
because
love my old one.
a lot of international addresses are that way, and they ship that way. You can fill it out. Or Andy, just ship it to me and I'll ship it to you because it's not that big a deal. Then you're not shipping it to your sister in Texas and she has to ship it
Well,
to
my
you.
sister's coming, not this Wednesday, but the next one after.
You might have time then. Send it to her.
Yeah,
We'll get
yeah. So,
time.
see, that's why I wanted to kind of figure it, because then I can like zoom it and she can zoom it here and we can be like, yes.
Yeah, girl.
And the war can begin.
That's when
I
the
like
ocular shirts,
both
that's when the
t-shirts.
war's going to begin.
That's right.
I've decided I can't wear one of them.
Yes, because then it's going to be, we're going to know.
I know, but
Well,
unless I bought both, right? If I bought both, then I alternated them on Coffee with Katie calls. Like, oh, what's she gonna wear today?
No,
Yeah,
just
and then
cut it in
then
half.
it won't be me stirring the pot anymore. It'll be you.
Oh, I'm a
No,
pot
just-
starter, Garrett. You're the pot starter.
cut it in half and sew it again, like the front on one and the other one. So you go like,
Yeah.
Yes, I was thinking the same thing, Andy. Just take 2 of them apart and just there you go.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
exceeds my creative
And-
ability. Like, no, I was like,
And I thought I'd even do a pillow. I thought get both and I'll make a pillow.
Yes, Layla, what a cool idea.
oh my
What
god.
a cool idea.
Absolutely. Just
Yes, Lila, I want to see it.
yeah, so then you have both. Yeah.
That is so.
So
funny.
then we can actually sit on whoever, like,
You know that I need that for all my characters. So when I get at them, I can throw them against the wall or something, right? Like, oh, I'm. No, Derek and I are okay right now. I just started editing Derek, and we're good. We're good right now. It's good. But I won't go into that because we need to talk about Rise of the Demigods.
Yeah.
All right.
And so much happens. Like I've listened to it like twice and I've read it once and I just keep finding that I'm just going, oh my God, yeah, like how could I have forgotten that bit? Because when I first listened to it, I get the whole like what's happening. And then when I listen to it more, it's like I get into the finer details and then I start going, oh, and what about that? Oh, and what about that? And yeah, so that's cool.
Garrett was saying earlier today that he has to listen twice, not only because he listens with his kid around, but because like you get the big picture and then you have to kind of go into the details. I think that's true of reading too. I think sometimes we read so fast to figure out what happens, then we have to go back and actually read.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
That's
yeah,
what
I
I
did
think-
that with. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Carol.
That's the way it is with Flame. It's like I started that over and I went, oh my God, Maximilian is like right here, right away. It's like, where did I miss this? It's like, oh my God. It's like,
That's awesome. Yeah.
I think you get also where I read the book and then now the audio's out. I'm picking up a lot of stuff that I think I did just skim over or something.
Really gonna hurry. Like you got to figure out what happens,
I'm
right?
just like, wow, I missed that part.
I felt that way watching The Witcher. Like I don't remember any of this. Like because there's so much going on and hitting you. You have to watch it a couple times for sure. Well, who has questions or things you want to start the discussion with? Because I have a feeling we'll just throw stuff out there and see where this goes, right? Did
Now
anyone
that with
Oh.
when sorry, go on.
go, Layla? You go ahead, and then Garrett can go after you.
Yep.
Oh no, but Garrett stirs the pot really well. I want him to start.
Oh, Layla, don't flatter yourself. You do it too.
Mine was innocent. Mine was innocent this time. I'm really obsessed by this. A few things actually, but the way that Dea Silva like left the writing on the tree, and I know it made me think all about. I know this is probably not just Rise of the Demigods, but I'll throw it out there. Like it made me think about, do the goddesses' magic only be in Alkarran, or can it go elsewhere? Like, is it just bottled in this little sphere, or can its tendrils reach elsewhere? And oh my God, what's going to happen to like Bianca when she goes there because of that? And how's that going to impact everything? And so because I was like at the end of the book, I was already going into the next book, with all the goddesses and stuff. So they were just stuff that sort of happened for me, which also made me think of Priscilla when she touches the amulet and it doesn't affect her. So it's all about the goddess magic and stuff like that, I guess, that I'm really obsessed with at the moment.
Oh, then you're gonna love Prana. So the goddess magic system is really set out a lot in the short story Prana that's coming up. Because you see it all from Prana's point of view, so you get to kind of see what's going on. But that's one of the questions that Bianca has at the beginning of the Forgotten Gods is, will my magic work over there?
Yeah.
I was gonna, what else? What did you just mention? There's something else I was gonna take off of there.
With Priscilla, was it the Priscilla touching the amulet?
So what are your theories on why Priscilla wasn't affected by touching the amulet?
My brain just exploded into so many directions. Like I just went, oh my God, I think I'm just rewriting everything. I just like, no, just wait to see what Katie comes up with. Wait to see what Katie comes up with.
Lila's over here in left field in her own story.
I had a thought on that. I was like,
go.
she's pregnant, right? Like,
yeah.
She's still pregnant at that point. So did the baby lose its magic? So did
say that again?
I said, so did the baby lose its magic instead of her losing it?
Lila.
Oh my God, Garrett, I didn't even think of that.
I just went with, okay, so she's not goddess touched and that's it. But
okay, so Andy thinks that has to do with goddess touch. Mystic, you were trying to say something.
That's what I was going to say. She doesn't have goddess magic because she's chosen like Sana was, because she can hear the trees. Sana can hear the trees. So she's basically like Dea Silva's favorite, except Dea Silva doesn't talk to her as frequently. Well, that's how I interpreted it, because I've been listening to the audiobooks of like Flame, Flight, Freedom, and Sana could hear the trees too. So I always assumed that even though Bianca didn't know she was goddess touched by Dea Silva, she was, and Priscilla doesn't have any like backstory like that I know of. So that's what I assumed.
Yeah, Garrett, you went too dark on us.
Garrett?
Yeah, but Bianca lost her magic when she touched the amulet.
Right.
Because goddess magic.
Because she's Bianca's, it had to happen to her.
Right, but I'm just saying, she was already goddess touched, so I mean.
Right, so Priscilla is not goddess touched, and Bianca is, and that was the difference.
Yeah.
And that's not
so you had to be goddess touch in order to lose the magic.
So it really comes down to the intermingling of God and goddess magic. They're not really allowed to touch, right? And Bianca has a connection with her goddess, and so through that connection they touched and that exploded, right? So it reacted. So basically what happened is both magics were then in Bianca, and they were sort of fighting, and it locked her. So when she was magicless, all it was is that her goddess magic couldn't respond because of god magic, but she lost her ability, not her magic. Because I've always pictured magic is in Alkarran, like it's in the air, but only witches possess the ability to harness it, like to actually use it. And the demigods do that because the amulets allow them to do so, right? So that's why mortals can't do it. But Bianca is special because she is goddess touched by Dea Silva. And in book 4, you find out when, like when it happens. So that,
because I just went, that's too simple. That's Katie's going to do more. That's too simple. She can't just have it like that. I know she's going to have some other little thing in there somewhere. She doesn't do it for nothing.
Oh, you're right. You're right. It's not that simple, but it is that simple. I mean, there's more that's coming with it in the Forgotten Gods, for sure. For sure.
So, Katie, with when Bianca buried VIVEET at the end, is that because of her goddess magic that Dea Silva kind of protected VIVEET?
Oh, this is so fun. We can talk about it. Okay, so so what happened with VIVEET is, so yeah, Bianca buried it in the forest, right? She buried VIVEET in the forest. Well, she actually saved VIVEET. So every goddess creates magic systems, right? And the magic originates in them. So Dea Silva has created the Ansis magic, and she has Leadham Wood as hers. So basically, Dea Silva's presence of Leadham Wood kept that magic alive in VIVEET. That's why in VIVEET we have like VIVEET slowly dying while she's talking to Andre because she's away from the forest now. So Bianca's like carting her all over Alkarra, having no idea there's like a time here. Like there's like a stopwatch, Bianca, but she doesn't know. She starts to feel a sense of urgency, like I need to get this figured out. But she doesn't necessarily understand what it means because only the Ansis like holder can actually talk to the swords. So yeah, so that's why VIVEET lasted, is because she was basically with Dea Silva. And that's why the tree wanted Bianca to be so proud of her. Like the tree
because she
magic with the
she had kept it. Gotcha.
So that's why that little sapling was like so excited to see Bianca, because she'd worked hard to like keep the magic in the sword, and then it all came together at the end.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It really is.
So one question:
Yeah.
Did the tree and the sword communicate with each other through the magic? I mean, like, yay, I'm keeping you here, and yeah, I'm here. You're
Got
here.
you.
Yeah. Thank you. Because it's the same goddess magic, or was it just magic against magic and just like keeping each other warm?
I think there was an understanding that the tree was kind of keeping VIVEET alive, and poor VIVEET was just waiting for like 3 years, like for Bianca to come. But as in terms of communication, not directly. No, VIVEET just kind of understood that she was waiting, and eventually Bianca came back when she found her. So I loved that part.
Well, when you think about Dea Silva's power, just because I just finished Flame, I mean, even Isadora, when she was first learning her magic, her watcher ability, she couldn't function. She couldn't do it without being in the forest.
Yeah. So that was another connection. And then in the Ronan scrolls, the watcher magic always originated with someone who was born near trees.
Oh, I missed that.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, so there's a little tidbit where Ronan is saying, he's tracked down all this data, and the only thing that he finds consistent is that magic holders of watcher magic are somewhere born near trees, and he sort of like discards it, like that can't mean anything, but it actually does, because Dea Silva knows the witches in the trees, right? And so she bestows the power. So the watcher magic is actually mentioned in Prana because it's one of the strongest magic systems in Alkarra. I mean, it can see the future and the past, right? For witches, specifically for witches. So that's a really mighty thing. And Prana thinks about it and kind of refers to it as she's doing Prana things to read about. And the Dragon Master magic, so the Watcher magic and the Dragon Master magic were really the two greatest goddess magical systems on Alkarra, until Sana found a loophole in the Dragon Master magic, because Sana destroyed the Dragon Master magic without the counter magic, right? And so Prana's still really pissed about that. Like, she's still really mad. Like, that was her favorite magic. It was hers. It was her most powerful. It was like how she felt she stood up against her sisters who are more focused than her. So it's cool to see the Watcher magic, the Ansis magic, and then the Forest of Leadham Wood kind of like show who Dea Silva is amongst her siblings. And then you'll learn more of Dea Silva's motives in Prana.
So is the Defender magic also part of Dea Silva's magic as well?
So it's the same. So the Watcher and Defender magic are the same magic system. They're just the counters. So magic is
Okay.
the thing of balance, meaning it always has a counter, right? It's the
Right.
law of opposition and all things. So the Defender magic countered the Watchers so that it remains balanced, but it's normally just referred to as the Watcher magic because the Watchers are historically thought to be more powerful because they see what could happen, and
Right.
witches don't necessarily want to see what did happen.
Okay.
Go ahead, Andy.
We still have to find out who's the new head watcher, like Isadora's like the most powerful one. So we still have to find out who's replacing her.
I know.
Is it any of his friends? Is it a new person? Who is this new
What happens
entity?
when a Watcher or a Defender dies is their place. So I see the Watcher magic is basically like almost like a pole where you have the most powerful at the top, and then you have like Watcher on one side, Defender on the other side, and you have matches going all the way down. So for this Watcher, there's this Defender. So when a Watcher like Isadora dies, who's at the top, that power gets a new witch. So right after Isadora died, a new witch started going through what Isadora went through with the headaches, the transitioning, not sure what's going on. And Isadora went through it really, really hard because she was like the head Watcher, like she was the most powerful Watcher. So that is happening somewhere else in Alkarran.
Oh.
Now I'm sitting here trying to think, did anybody have a headache?
I get them all the time, and I haven't seen any future and past. Totally different.
The threads aren't there, Katie, or what?
I know.
You
So
say
I think
no
this was
pass?
going to be on the new book.
So I wanted to give the Defenders a spot, right? So we're not going to see a new Watcher in the Network saga, but we still have the Sisterhood saga coming up, and you just never know who's gonna have the power in the Sisterhood saga. That's what I'm going to say.
So Katie, okay, so Bianca touches the amulet, loses her magic. Is it because Prana touches her at the end that she gets it back, because now the god and goddess magic can touch because Prana is there and restored it? Or how
So-
did that work?
Prana basically unbinds the goddess magic in Bianca,
Okay.
right? So she still has both magics in her, which is why she feels the warming god magic. Over time, she wouldn't be able to keep both inside her. Like over many years, like she would have to basically get one out or choose one or the other. It's not an immediate issue. But at the current moment, she's kind of fine as she is right now, and she just kind of has to work around the two. The goddess magic is really the more difficult magic. Like
Right.
the god magic is easier, it's faster, that kind of stuff. So it sort of falls back to the god magic, and the god magic comes forward more when it's shared that way. But no one has ever done this before. Like a goddess touch witch has never touched an amulet from the gods. So this is all like new to everyone, including the gods and the goddesses. So they're all trying to figure out what comes going on.
So
Yeah.
was there a hint in there? Was there a hint in there about who she chose because of the goddess magic and the god magic? Were you hinting at us to let us know what's going on?
So Bianca has some really good things in her future. All I'm gonna say is she can't have both, right? We'll say. She can't
Well,
have
right
both.
now she does, right?
She does right now, but she can't have both.
What's the saying? You can't ride two horses with the same saddle?
There
Yeah.
you go. Perfect, Andy.
That's
But I'm still a little, maybe I'm just not listening correctly, but Bianca is Dia Silva, but now Prana released it. So does she have both of those goddesses?
no. So
Yeah.
goddess magic is the same from either sister.
Oh,
right?
okay.
The goddess
right.
magic ability, like because Prana is one of the four sisters, she can unlock it to kind of bring it in her. And I
Okay.
actually say it almost that exact way in Prana. Because I go back, Prana starts like 5 years before Miss Mabel's School for Girls. So it starts way, way back
Wow.
and then moves through time up to the end of Rise of the Demigods. It's so fun. I had like all my books out, like reading through and like messaging my team, like, am I wrong? Is this the timeline? Like we were trying to figure everything out so that I had the right timeline. But I specifically say in there, from Prana's point of view, why she's able to unlock Bianca. And because there's like a piece of seaweed that Bianca holds on to, and then the magic comes back, she blacks out. So you see all that from Prana's side. But basically, goddess, it doesn't matter, right?
Okay.
Yeah. With the gods, it's different though, because the amulets are created to the individual god's magic. So Bianca specifically has Ignis, like Ignis's power and magic inside her. So it's different from the gods.
Okay.
Which has.
And so then we get to see what that's going to happen.
Yes.
Right. So each color is a different god.
Yeah. So they basically take on their elements. So like wind is sort of a gray, bluish, maybe a little yellow. Fire obviously is red, orange, yellow. Tontus, god of thunder, I have as anywhere from purple to black, kind of like a thunderstorm, you know, like those colors. And then Galas is the colors of ice, basically like silver, white, gray, blue, like varying shades of blue. Yeah. I actually created a library in Alasia with all of the god amulets. Oh, it's so cool. I just like rewrote it today and I was like, this is so cool. You guys are gonna love it. It's a really fun couple of scenes when Bianca goes to it's Island of the Amulets is what it's called. Bianca goes to the Island of the Amulets and she gets to see what all the amulets look like and like meet the mortals that keep the records. So fun.
Now that's the next book we get, right?
That's the Forgotten Gods. That's the next Bianca book, yeah. But you have to read Derek first. And Prana. Oh, they're so good.
Well, I meant Prana's the next.
So
Prana, then Derek, then the Forgotten Gods.
Yeah.
Is that totally confusing for all of you? Okay. I'm glad that answered your questions. Anyone else like have questions that they thought of? Anyone want to guess what Derek is up to?
I think Derek's in the Northern Network.
Oh, what do you think?
I think he might be too. I think he's up there with Regina.
Yeah.
See, we Olsen's got to stick together, Kim.
That's right.
That's all there is to it.
Carol.
Whether we're related or not, Kim, we just got to keep this going.
That's related by Alkarran.
So,
yes, Regina.
So, is Derek gonna have like 2 love interests too? So then you can make, I can stir the pot some more on that, or
no, his first love's already gone, so now he has time for the second.
Yeah.
Derek,
the second tour.
Helped by women stirring pots, that's for sure. Derek gets into plenty of trouble on his own in this book.
I did have a question. I'm still a little confused on the amulet thing.
Yeah.
At one point, maybe I heard wrong, but didn't each god only have like a handful of amulets?
Yeah.
But there's like 50 or 60 demigods in this book right now. But if they only each had 5, and there's what, like 5 gods, or am I just getting way too lost?
No, you're fine. So there's 4 gods. There's 4 gods.
Some of them had more than others. Didn't they say?
Yeah, there's 4 gods and there's 50 known amulets. So they're all about 12 to 13 per god. But some of those demigods were just brought over by a demigod with amulets, right? Because their magic is so fast and so easy. It's like you just bring them and they show up. It's not like transportation magic where you're like using the incantation and a certain amount of energy and the right focus. There's none of that. It's just so easy to kind of pull people over as needed so the demigods can fight. So yeah, in the Forgotten Gods, actually, when you go to the Island of the Amulets, you sort of like see the breakdown of how many gods have how many amulets and then how the amulets are made, right? So Bianca, I mean, I don't go into great depth because that would be boring, but you learn. Like, I mean, if we're like creating an amulet with Ignis maybe, but you kind of learn more like how they're made and what the implications.
That could be our next craft, Katie.
Our next craft. What was our first one?
Teacups. The teacups.
We can figure something out.
No, I asked my niece that she does a lot of ceramic, and she said the best or the easiest thing to do is to find hold on, I got a mess here. Somebody that makes ceramics, to have it like white, and then you can color it with Sharpies and put a sealer. They sell it at Michael's and whatever.
Great.
I think
So it's like,
interesting.
interesting.
With Katie, we'll do crafts with Carol. Right?
I know the first one can be
Implements
sword
today,
making.
guys.
Sword making, yeah. We'll do sword making.
Yeah, we'll do
first,
sword
Carol.
making.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
You can help us cut cardboard swords out and paint them like VIVEET. Oh, that's funny. Did that answer your question, Garrett?
I think so. Well, so does every demigod that's there right now have an amulet or not? No. Okay.
Most
I think
of the demigods
clears
there.
it up then.
Yeah, most of the demigods that are staying in Alasia do. But like in Merrick, when Jody had the dark folk, but some of the dark folk seemed more like leaders than the other. Like Merrick was just noticing that Jody cast a wide net with the dark folk, but really he could tell that he was just sort of saying that to make people feel included. The other like leaders that you see at the end, right before the attack, like those are other demigods. They just don't all have amulets that Jody's brought over to kind of help him because they're freakishly fast, right? And like athletic and stuff. So yeah, not every demigod that's there has an amulet, but a lot of the demigods that do have amulets have come over, whether for curiosity or like with Ignis. Ignis basically sent all of his children with demigods to get Alkarran to see if they could do it, and they failed. So that has big implications for later. I'm actually figuring that out myself. So,
well, the thing that threw me when they started talking demigod or god magic was the fact that, especially in Merrick, he couldn't follow it. That blew me away. It was like, whoa, wait, this is a twist and a half.
Yeah.
Is that because of the amulet?
It's just because the difference is in god magic, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so the transportation magic leaves like a signature, like an invisible signature, because it's goddess magic. So they can follow that, but it's god magic. There is nothing they can recognize in it because the two magics can't interact. So that's also why it's dangerous for witches, because they can't go find the demigods like they could another witch.
Very cool.
I love
Thank
the
you.
explanation too that you gave. I love the explanation you gave too, because Alkarran has like the magic in the air, so it makes sense that they can follow the goddess magic with the transportation because it's in the air, so there leaves a residue in it.
Essentially, yeah, like an imprint almost,
Yeah.
like a brief one.
Yeah,
it's a brief one.
Yeah,
so it doesn't last forever, but it's enough that it leaves it for someone who could follow, which makes the god magic scarier, because then how do you, like, they can get away? It's a guaranteed escape.
And I love it too because it also like gives that visual for the defenders and the watchers, their magic, because it's like it gives them a thread to kind of follow, because magic holds the memory and the knowledge, and then they can actually follow it through to the past or the future. So everything that you've created has pathways. I love that.
Yeah. So it kind of connects.
Do you ever paint yourself in a corner in a way where you're just like, you got all this going on, and then all of a sudden, how do I get out of this corner without making tracks type deal? Like, how do you
how
ever
did
do
I
that?
screw this up?
Yeah. That happened a lot more earlier in my career, but I've learned what I call the Glacier Method. So if I have something that I know could paint me into a corner or could be really big later, I just show you like this much of it. And then I leave all the stuff below the water to figure out later. So like I was so afraid in The Lost Magic that the decisions I made were going to massively impact the other books. I was worried that I'd get to book 4 and be like, well, I said this thing in book 1, now I can't do this other thing. So I plot and sort of plan and spread a really big picture so I kind of know where it's going, so I don't have really big ones. And then I hope and pray like crazy that I pick up all the threads and I don't break my own rules. It's like a wing and a prayer most of the time. But also I have beta readers that and like sensitivity readers and other readers that read through it, and they're really happy to tell me when I've like messed up. Mike, our trivia guy, is perpetually messaging me like, Katie, Katie, you forgot about this. Hey, Katie, and this book, and I'm like, oh, it's so important. I don't even know my own world. So yes, all the time. But I haven't painted myself into a massive corner that I couldn't get out of, mostly because this is fantasy, right? So as long as I haven't made a magic system so advanced that I can find a way around whatever I'm doing, then I'm usually pretty okay. I know how to spot that now too. And that's the scariest, like at the beginning of a series, when I have to establish new things. But by the end of the series, I don't worry about it as much because the rules are laid out. So that kind of helps too. It's a great question though. I think Brandon Sanderson talks about that too. I don't know if you guys follow him at all, but he's like, I'll just make one vague mention about this thing over here, and eventually I'll write a book about that thing, but I don't worry about it in that manuscript because I don't want details that I have to abide by later, essentially, is what.
Oh yeah, okay. Cool.
Who has thoughts on Hiddleston and Lita?
Oh, come on now.
Like
I just have one more
Romance,
I have one more
man.
question about the amulets.
Yeah, go ahead.
If, for example, Priscilla gets a hold of an amulet, since she wouldn't lose her magic, but since she's, like handling, you might say, god magic, would she be able to sense other god magic like Bianca does?
Oh, good question, Andy.
So without being goddess touched, the amulets really aren't much these witches. It's really when you're goddess touched that the amulets become a problem, because you have like an insight into these goddesses. And at this point, I mean, Serena might be different, but the other goddesses aren't interacting a lot with witches. So Dea Silva's kind of like the power right now. Prana, you guys will soon find, hates witches, right? So she's not gonna be goddess touched to save her existence. So Bianca actually stands at a very
alone in that
place. Yeah, like she's going to see throughout the Forgotten Gods just what the goddess touched means, right? So it comes to a point at the end when she kind of realizes her position.
my arm hurts.
It's really cool. It's a really cool plot thread. The progression of Bianca's character development in this book is really fun. I mean, they're all really fun, but this one's super duper fun. She's like in this whole new world, like without anything familiar, and that's like a really fun thing to drop her into. And Baxter obviously is struggling being back home, so it's a fun place.
So in other words, when the Forgotten Gods comes out, we should all like sleep the whole day before, so when we get the book, we can just stay up, read the whole book, and not have to worry about, like me and Andy, we're on chapter 6 and we're dying, right?
Hey, the good thing here is that Katie said that all books and audiobooks are being launched at the same time.
They are. Yep.
So when you're done, if you want to go back and forth in the reading, you can do that. Like, hey, I got to do dishes, just turn it on and you can listen to it while you do dishes.
Yep, I did that when I was cooking the other day. Yeah, perfect time.
Part of the reason it's launching in July, is it July or June? July. Sorry, I can't keep my own book straight. Is because I wanted to make sure that we had space for the audio to launch with it also. And then I had these other projects I wanted to get out with it. So yes, it will be easily jumpable. Plus the launch team will be getting it a month early. So the launch team will be getting it in June. I think all of you are on the launch team. I think mostly launch team people are showing up to these calls, which is awesome. Well, it's easy then, right? Because then we can.
Yeah, then we know what's going on.
Yeah. So you guys will get it in June. And honestly, I'm halfway through. Today, I broke the halfway point in the second draft, which is the hardest draft, because everything is down. I just have to make it pretty now. I say the bones are there, but I have to dress them up now. So I'm dressing the skeleton up. And after this one, I do a quick read through and then I send it to beta readers, which is a huge milestone. So that's exciting. And I have to finish Derek. Oh my gosh, Derek. Anyway. He is.
With all the
Is he being a pain in the rump?
He's always a pain in the rump. What were you saying, Layla?
I was just saying, how do you make time for us all the time when you've got all this other stuff to do? Just like, I think you're like on 3 different like ones happening at the moment, if not more.
I know. I have like 3 buckets that I live in. The family bucket, the work bucket, and like my bucket, right? This is basically how it goes. But a lot of it is, I mean, people forget that I've been doing this almost a decade, right? So I have like a lot of experience and I can write faster because I have so much experience. I mean, I've written probably over 60 books. I haven't published all of those books. Hi, Michelle. Welcome. I haven't published all like under my name. I did some ghostwriting. So I've written a lot. So it probably seems totally overwhelming to people that don't do this as much as I do, but this is very much my career. I do this writing every day and I've hacked the crap out of it, right? So when I'm like hiking, I know exactly how my brain operates now. So when I'm hiking, I talk and I send myself voice messages of ideas, and then I just get home and I'll transcribe them into plots. And then I know how many hours it takes me to write 10,000 words. And so I just book that, and then I ignore my emails, and like I have buckets that I live in. So I live in my work bucket when my kids are gone, and then I'm home when my kids are home, and then I take care of myself when my kids are sleeping.
Well, I know we all appreciate the time you give us, that's for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, really, so there's writing new books and then there's talking to readers, and they really fight with importance to me, right? Like I have to remind myself that writing new books has to be the top, but it's the top by like right here. Like just right there. Because without you, it's not fun, right? Like
and you're doing that writing with the what was his name? Ramon? Is it Ramon? Ramon?
Derek Sidaway that I emailed out about his Kickstarter. So Beast Mage is not mine. We're not co-writing that one. We're co-writing a different series we've already started. The first book's written. I just have to approve it one more time and then start recording the audio, because I'll be doing all the audiobooks for it. And then we're starting the second book, I think this weekend, maybe. Like we're plotting the second book this weekend, I think. Actually, Derek just texted me. Let me message him really quick. I think we were supposed to meet tonight. Hold on.
Well, tell him he comes right after us.
My readers are protesting. Anyway, so they'll start.
Katie, not to interrupt, but it just came to me. Shelley is the one.
Shelley, thank you. I said it was an SH, right? Okay, so on our Coffee with Katie call, someone was talking about how it was like 50 degrees and they were really excited. And I was like, man, anytime someone talks about weather, I think of Shelley, who lives in like the North Fields of Canada, and she's like upset when it's 50 because it's too hot. She's like, yeah, still has not been above 0, right? Like she was negative
bikini weather
last year. Yeah, she's so funny. Thank you, Kim. Thank you. I was like, not scary.
Well, when you said Michelle, I'm thinking Michelle, Shelley. That was it.
It always comes. Anyway, all right. Did I answer all the questions there?
Oh, I think I interrupted someone that were going to ask something. But when can we like start listening to your other world that you're now building with this other person?
So Astrid is the series I'm doing with Derek. And it's the Sword Song Saga, I think. You'll really like Astrid. She has like a pet wolf.
Yes.
Like her dragon, so to speak. And these are like, Mara is the name of the wolf. It's really cute. Maera. She's a little more, Astrid's like more Viking-esque. Not full, because this is a fantasy world, but she's out to prove herself for sure. Like she's got some chips on her shoulder and she just really wants a wolf, and it's a really cool story. So that comes out, the first book comes out spring of 2023. So we're going to have them all written, and then we're going to launch on the seasons.
Yep.
Spring, summer, fall, winter. And Derek is technically the publisher. So it won't be on my website. It'll be on his website. And I'm basically writing with him under his brand. So we did that because I didn't want to be in charge of giving him money every month for the rest of my life. So when freedom
give you money every
freedom is a big value to me, and I didn't want to be strapped to another person's business. So I was like, And he's like, I'll do it. I was like, great, just pay me money every quarter. Like, that's pretty awesome. I'll take that deal. So that will launch on his website spring of next year.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Will you be able to
Thanks.
let us know?
Oh, of course. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. All of you will know. We'll still do a launch. We'll probably have coffee with Katie and have Derek in on it, that kind of stuff. It just won't be from my store.
Cool.
So you guys are used to buying from Katie Press Books, but it won't be there. It'll be over at Derek's. I'll probably have like a picture on my store that will send people over there if they want it, but all purchases will go through Derek. So
Perfect.
and he just closed his Kickstart at like 25,000 or almost 25,000 or something. It was awesome. He had a really fantastic launch. So it was good.
Yes, I did it.
Oh, you guys are awesome. Yeah, he said there's a huge surge after I emailed, and I was like, yeah, my readers are amazing.
Well, ask Kim if it's Scandinavian. Of course, you gotta back Scandinavians. Come on.
Well, the two of you share a brain these days, so.
When we get our swords, we can have a sword fight, Carol.
Hey, Kim, woohoo, baby girl. There we go.
Oh my gosh, I want to see that. You know what I really want to do? My dream is to have the Coffee with Katie retreat.
Oh gosh, that would be so much fun.
So it'd be so fun. Kim, we could meet at my cabin.
I was
right?
just gonna say your cabin would be perfect.
I have this dream in my head of getting you all to my cabin, and we could just have a fun like 3 or 4 day retreat where we just talk about fantasy books all day. It'd be so fun.
Yes, I need a vacation.
Yes, I got from Guatemala. Anyway, so
It needs to be when we can all fly, because otherwise I'm going to get really jealous.
Lila has to be there. I will put that rule down. Lila has to be able to make it.
Lila, can you travel to Guatemala? I think the US is the one that has like the most rules.
Really?
Because, for example, I was vaccinated in my country. They didn't, like pretty much ask. They just said it. Go to the place nearest to you and see what you get. So I got Sputnik. And since I got Sputnik, I can't travel to the US.
Oh, that's dumb.
I have to have either Moderna or Pfizer. But then they told me that if I get like the third shot, the booster shot,
Then
if I get either Pfizer or Moderna, that it counts as. And I'm like, then what the heck, I mean, it's the same thing, people. So can you travel to Guatemala, Lila? I
wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. I haven't looked up any of that sort of stuff. I'm too busy being in fantasy worlds to worry about the real world.
People, I have an amazing piece of land near Antigua, like 5 minutes from Antigua, and you can hear the volcano when it goes boom at night, because it's one of the volcanoes is active year round, and you can hear. And it's just this beautiful piece of land. We bought it like 5 years ago, and we haven't built anything on it. So it's just grass and trees.
Oh, that's amazing.
So we can do like a camp out. We're like in the forest, people.
Forget my cabin. Let's go there.
Leadhamwood,
and then you've got to come to Australia too.
So Andy, the fire god is there.
Well, we can take turns every year, right? So we'll do the first year at my cabin, the second year in Guatemala, the third year in Australia. We got to meet the Chookies, right? In Australia.
Yeah.
We got to meet Lila's cute little Chookies. So we'll just travel around the world. It'll work great.
Mystic, where are you from?
I'm in San Francisco.
San Francisco?
Yeah.
Probably won't work there. No, just kidding.
It's very expensive to come.
No, but it's a beautiful place. I've always wanted to go there.
Well, we could do them all.
You could stay in my apartment. No.
I don't think I would live with my kids there.
We're all going to have to start playing the lottery.
I know.
Yeah.
No, like, well, start saving your pennies. We'll try this maybe next year. We'll get a retreat going or something. It'll be really fun. Anyway, okay, back to the book.
Yeah.
Back to the book. I'd asked about Hiddleston and Lita. Did anyone want to talk about that?
I love it.
Me too.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
And
kind
I
of fun.
actually loved it more once I heard. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Layla.
I was just saying, I really loved it even more because, like, I'm actually starting to enjoy listening to Katie tell me the books more than reading them, because I don't know, Katie just brings another level of something into it. And so I found that, like, even though I enjoyed their relationship, once I heard Katie doing the relationship, it's sort of like, yeah, it was like, ooh, even more so. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I don't understand, why is Lita so adverse to finding love?
She doesn't
Good
want to be
question.
Yeah, she doesn't want to be your mom. So Lita's
Mm.
never been super affectionate anyway, right? She's just
Right.
she's a little more controlling than that. But I think the big fear driving Lita here, like Bianca says at some point, is she doesn't want to be her mother. She doesn't want to be strapped to kids, poor, like working at home all the time. She wants to like make something of herself and have this big political career. And so for her, anything outside that is just a distraction, right? And so
Right.
she's just always been like too busy for relationships and that kind of stuff. So I think eventually over time, Lita just kind of closed that part of her mind off to it. But Hiddleston is kind of starting to wear her down a little bit.
Yeah, I'm kind of
But
excited
wait,
about that.
if there's not, well, not that we couldn't have a romance there still, but is there something with Lita that we could possibly see her as a high priestess?
Oh.
I will.
Got a really nice driveway, stamped concrete, maybe interlocking brick.
Oh, I was like, what's...
Sorry, that was me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Whoopsie. I thought it was Garrett at first. I'm like, did Garrett step away? Is he coming? My ultimate goal since Miss Mabel's has always been to eventually have Lita as high priestess. Like,
Yeah.
way down the road. That's my goal, but I have a lot of goals that I shoot for. The readers tell me, but ultimately, yeah, that is the plan of mine down the road. I don't know how long the sisterhood saga will go. We'll kind of see, but I'm hoping to like close Bianca's story out when she's like 50 something, and Lita is ruling high priestess. But we'll see. I mean, I moved.
I mean,
her-
not that we couldn't have another, Mildred and Martin there, but
Yeah. Well, I mean, everything is changing in the Central Network over all of these books, right? So there's no reason that Lita can't actually be the first high priestess to be handfasted. Anyway.
Well, yeah, because Derek was the first head of protectors that was handfasted and had a family.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
things were changing even under Mildred. So
Right. And Mildred
Yeah.
like had a family, just no one knew about it, right?
Yeah.
even Mildred kind of didn't realize that Derek was, still around. It was like, oh,
Plus that would be like 50 years or like 30 years from then, right? So there's
Yeah.
lots that could change then. But I mean, in my brain, I've always had a long love story for Hiddleston and Lita. Kind of the love story that comes together to the point that they can't extricate, where like they've just been together and through so much so long, even if it hasn't always been like intentionally romantic. But I also, as I wrote Derek, in which Hiddleston plays a big part, I've been noodling over giving Hiddleston a book, so that like a novella in between The Forgotten Gods and War of the Gods, so that you can get to know him and his story better. Because I know why he's so interested in Lita, and I know what his story is, but there's been no way to really introduce that naturally in these books. And so I kind of have thought about giving him a novella so you guys can see it too.
Yes,
That
please.
would be perfect.
yes, please.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Like you're
I
gonna
wonder. I wonder what. I can't help but wonder when I think of Hiddleston that, like, because of his ability, that he can see their relationship when he looks back at all the things that could have happened and how that must influence how he sees her. Do you know what I mean? Like, he might have more insights about her because of that, because he sees all the different pathways that could have happened with her responses and her choices, but the ones that she chooses aren't necessarily, so he's responding from more information than what we're seeing.
Absolutely. So the question I want to answer with Hiddleston is, which is more powerful, the Watcher or the Defender, right? So far, we've always just kind of swayed to the Watcher. Like, we've seen these powerful Watchers, but with Hiddleston, I really wanted to explore the idea of, well, this is how powerful the past is, right? Like, arguably, I think Defenders are more powerful than Watchers, because, like, I think knowing the past is far more
Yeah.
powerful than knowing the future, because the past influences our future in every possible way. And that's sort of what I want to explore and show through Hiddleston's story. So yeah, Lila, sorry, I keep calling you Layla.
Yeah.
Lila,
Yeah.
you nailed
Yeah.
it, right?
That's
Like
okay.
he's coming from a place with more information on Lita than anyone else. And it parallels experiences that he's had in his life. So he feels a greater connection with her.
Yeah.
And I
And
even- I
that
even-
whole thing too with
Go
sorry,
ahead,
Carol.
Go ahead, Lila. Go ahead.
Okay. It's that thing too of, you know how like people have that thing about what is real, like what's real for us, like how we respond to things, and he shows that beautifully, because just because it didn't actually happen, it doesn't make it any less real for him. Because like he's still experiencing all those things, and he's experiencing the emotions as well, so that his reality is like expanded because of it, you know. And that's how I see him. So I find him really like, you know, oh, there's so much more there.
Yeah, there is a lot to Hiddleston we haven't unpacked yet, and that's why I think he kind of might get his own novella.
Well, I kind of see Lita and Hiddleston as the modern age Martin and Mildred. We have evolved to that point.
We're seeing the shadows of the past. Wait, I have to see what this dog's name is. That dog is giving a lot of kisses.
That's Rain.
Oh, hi, Rain.
Aww.
Oh, you
This
guys,
is Rain.
can I tell them, Michelle?
Sure, go ahead.
So Michelle just emailed me. This is heartbreaking, but Rain is 12 years old.
She's about to be 10.
Okay, that's right. She's about to be 10. Oh, life expectancy is about 12. And she's got some pretty tough news about Rain's heart. That is she's a bit of a time bomb at this point. So Michelle's had a hard day.
Oh,
sorry to hear you a big hug, Michelle.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Pets become part of your family, and
They really do.
Wow, big hug, big hug.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sending lots of love your way.
Absolutely.
And Dana Delaney, you guys remember Dana? Her husband is in the hospital. That's why.
Oh no.
I don't know like how much she wants revealed. So I've been checking on her every other day, or like every couple days. He's in like a different, like longer term place, and he's talking and stuff now. Like he's not in the ICU anymore, but it was pretty touch and go for a little while. So that's why we haven't seen Dana. So Facebook message her all your love. She's got a lot going on right now. So
prayers up, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, we were talking about Hiddleston and Lita, right?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. You get me started. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Carol, but I wanted to see if this
No, please go right ahead. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so more on Hiddleston for sure. While we were speculating, Derek and Regina, any thoughts on Regina?
Mixed emotion on her.
Really?
Huh?
Yes.
Say, I can't decide on her.
She
either.
seems awesome.
Thank you, Garrett. I'm glad I'm not the only one. It's like, oh,
I gotta know why you and Garrett are mixed emotions.
Yeah,
Come
I
on,
want
like
to know.
taking
Come on.
Merrick away. Come on, they'd already be together if she wouldn't have taken him away. Said no, you have to come to the north. Like, just saying, it's her fault.
yes,
Carolyn. That's Carolyn. It's Carolyn's fault, not Regina.
Oh, damn.
You're thinking of the high priestess.
Yes, I am.
Regina.
Yeah, but still, Regina didn't object. She didn't, like back him up and say to Geraldine, look, this guy's been doing great. It's not his fault. Because she was talking to him. And she kind of knew that, he was following a trail and that things weren't, communication wise wasn't working, So I think it is part of her fault, like Garrett said, because she didn't support him. She didn't back him up like, look, Geraldine, I mean, I know you're angry. I know she was your sister, but the guy's been doing a lot of stuff here for us. And he's been playing both networks and he's kept loyalties towards both networks. I mean, there are no.
But consider that you didn't see Regina and Carolyn, right? So you don't know for sure if Regina didn't back her and it went bad for Regina. So there's that. But also, like Regina didn't want to lose Merrick because of all that was going on in the north. She needed every capable master. I mean, they just almost had this giant coup where every one of their council members would have been killed and one of their high priestesses was killed. So you don't want to lose one of your most capable masters at that time when she's going to need him. And all I'm going to say is that in Derek, you're going to learn more. Regina and Merrick and Derek are the three biggest characters in the Derek novella. So I will ask this question again after Derek releases and see what you guys think.
I don't know. Did we see a little part in when Bianca walks in?
What do you think you saw?
with Derek and Regina?
What do you think you saw?
I don't know.
Ooh, we saw little smoke, little
yeah.
fire.
Where there's smoke, there's fire, Carol.
Like my kids say, kissy face, kissy face.
Oh, that's awesome. I was just curious if anyone had any thoughts. Who wants to see more of Tipa, the demigod that helped Bianca? You guys want to see more of her?
Yeah. Because not all demigods are bad. Like some of them, I feel like some of them are going to be on Bianca's side, and she's one of them. So yeah, I'd like to know a little bit more about her.
I think Tipa and Bianca like came onto the page really similar. Like when I was writing them, I was like, oh, they can't stop fighting. Like it got kind of nasty. I edited it out, but they struggled, and I think Tipa and Bianca are really similar in personality, and so there's like some sense of like Bianca wouldn't listen to Tipa, and Tipa's a demigod, and people listen to her, and why isn't this witch listening to her? You know, so there's like some sense of struggle between them, but I did decide to bring her back into the Forgotten Gods. So I wanted
What
to
if?
like her.
What if?
Good.
Just listen, Garrett. You're gonna love this
No,
idea.
you're good.
What if Tipa starts flirting with Merrick, and that gets Bianca all fired up, and Baxter.
Yeah, Baxter. See ya, Baxter.
She can have Merrick. She can have Merrick. Bianca
That's
needs
right.
to do Baxter.
Jean Marie.
No.
Oh,
Jean
damn,
Marie
I
released
missed the heck of
her
the conversation.
Totally Team Baxter.
Let Baxter have Tipa. It's okay. You know,
Yeah,
demigods are
see,
demigods.
that's right.
Well, but Jean Marie.
Carol, you
would
came
be
to the
happy-
dark side.
Oh no.
No, she's saying Tipa and Baxter should get together.
Oh no! I missed that. Oh darn it!
I was like, wait, you're just
I got
died.
excited
no.
for a minute.
No, Jean Marie, I would not come to the dark side. Sorry.
Oh, it's great over here.
We have cookies.
It's great that your face is sort of even darkened.
I know,
That's
right?
what we're saying.
It's dark in my living room.
Wait, Catherine was trying to say something. Catherine, did you have something to
I
say?
said, come to the dark side. We have cookies.
Yes.
Baxter's saying
You have cookies, but you don't have milk.
All the boys come to my backside. Seriously, I showed up late and I walked into the middle of that conversation, and the first thing I thought was, damn, I missed so much.
I'm recording it so you can catch up to all of it. I'll put it on my YouTube channel too. But we're always debating Baxter versus Merrick, aren't we? Like, it always devolves to that. Anyway.
But how long do we have to wait? How long do we have to wait from I can't remember. I think you mentioned it before, but with everything we talk about, I'm going, did I remember that right? Do we have to wait through the whole book to the end, or do we have to wait for the next one till we know? Or is there hint? I think you said there's hints at the end of the next book, isn't there?
You'll know at the end of the Forgotten Gods. Yeah.
Okay.
I have a surprise book that's coming out that I'm not announcing, and I'm not advertising, that will only be available at the end of the Forgotten Gods for like a couple weeks. And it will deal with her choice. So I'm not even telling the title, because it was like, I'm not saying the title, I'm not saying anything about it. I'm not going to have a description. I'm just going to put it out there so that the moment you finish the Forgotten Gods, you can pick it up, and like the results of her choice will sort of happen. Because what's happened is, like, this is such a big thing now that I couldn't write the final book because the consequences of Bianca's choice like rolled out in the book and it was taking over the whole plot. Like I was like, oh my gosh. So I have a totally separate novella that I've written already that
So what you're saying,
wrap that up.
what you're saying is when she picks Merrick, then the other guy is gonna just flip a tit and just go crazy and turn on everybody, and he's gonna show his true colors. That's what's gonna happen.
Well, Garrett just ruined it all for you.
You're all welcome. You're all welcome.
Come on, Garrett. Flip a kit.
I got a request for you.
Yeah.
What's the gentleman's name that does the questionnaires?
Oh, Mike.
Mike.
You know I'm terrible with names. I've mentioned it before. I am super terrible with names. You said he's your go-to guy. You should have him make me like a dictionary or an index or something. Just something with the names and like a short little description on each person. Because I'm always sitting here like, okay, once you start talking about the person, I'm like, oh yeah. But when you're just saying names, I'm just like, shit, who's that?
Well, when you listen, it's not in your head in the same way. Like I swear, books are not as concrete to me when I listen to them as when I read them. You don't see
you need a wiki.
Yeah.
You know how they're spelled. So we have a wiki, and
that's what he wants. He wants a wiki.
I have it. So I just need to like get the link back out there. So Mike and Evan run the wiki, and I don't know how updated it is because Evan hasn't been working for the last 6 months, and Mike has been so busy doing trivia that I don't think he's been working on the wiki. But I'll get you the wiki, Garrett, or just like start holding your hand up and we'll explain who we're talking about.
Fair enough. Well, when you guys start talking, it's like, oh yeah, that's right, that, yep. But you know,
we probably even have honestly, we probably have a character summary list between like the TV producers and Mike and Evan and all those people. We probably have a character list somewhere. I'll look for you.
Wait a minute, TV producers.
Yes, that's a new email for you, Katie. Send it to all of us.
Yeah, I have a team of producers that are shopping Bianca.
Oh,
yeah,
the production.
Okay.
Yeah.
Remember, this goes to YouTube, so don't say too much.
Yeah, I can say that much. That's all I can say. So as long as there's not, we don't have a production company yet, and I'm not saying their names. So I just have 3 producers, and now we just found a director, which generally just means that we have 4 people from Hollywood that are super excited about Bianca. That's what it means. So this isn't like, oh, we've got something. This is 4 people in Hollywood are super excited, and they have production companies they're pitching to. I can say that much. I found out. So we'll just leave that right there because it could fizzle into absolutely nothing. But I don't know if I'm at liberty to like give details and stuff. I'm not. The contract I signed was only about my shopping agreement. So anyway, long story short. There was something else on my brain I was going to ask you around that. I can't remember now.
I have to go now. I have to put this little one to bed.
Oh, night.
So good night, y'all.
Take care.
We'll see
you. Please keep defending Merrick.
He's what? I'm sorry.
We got
keep
you, Andy.
defending Merrick.
Oh,
You're
I
in
will.
charge now.
I got you.
All right. Night,
Have
y'all.
a good night.
Nice.
Night, Andy.
Sweet dreams.
So regarding the Merrick Baxter situation, that's what you can expect. Lila, to answer your question, that's what you can expect. You'll pretty much know at the end of the Forgotten Gods, there will be a book you can buy right away to get you the rest of the information. And
the rest of the story.
You'll be able to go.
Because I'm still both. I'm greedy. So, you know, I'm not one or the other.
Both, Lila. Maybe she's gonna do the reverse harem. That'll really shock you.
That's for sure. Oh, and you were right. I was thinking about that, and that's why I love getting both your books, because I do love to read and hear, because I'm so visual that when I'm listening, I'm seeing the words too. And I didn't realize that until you said it. Like, you know, when you said it, I went, that's why things stick, because I do read them as well. And it's just that I've been so busy. It's like I haven't been able to do Like, I actually want to experience it, looking at it while you're reading it to me. I want to do that as well to see what it's like. So
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Sometimes I take out words
yeah,
or like change them around. So if you were to read along, probably 95% is spot on, but then like sometimes I just riff.
I like that.
When we say you witch you.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes I'll write sentences that I'm like, what was I thinking? That's so awkward to say. So I'll either like split the sentence up or I'll just change it. I found a huge mistake in the Isadora interviews yesterday. I was like, well, that's really dumb. I can't believe I didn't see that before. Like no one had pointed it out before. So like that kind of stuff happens as I'm actually like reading it out loud. So that, yeah.
So you don't do that when do you ever read out loud, or is that like because you've been doing it so long you don't even do that anymore? You just like.
I think it just always took too long to do that.
Yeah.
And I would get bored when I was doing it for like an editing thing, so I just didn't. But now I approach my manuscripts like, oh, that'll be weird in the audiobook, so I'm just gonna put it different. Or when I do this in the audiobook, I'll just represent it this way or something.
Yeah.
You know, I was taught to proofread by reading out loud in front of a mirror.
Yeah.
Because your mouth will not correct the errors, because your brain will. You wrote it, your brain knows what you mean, and your brain will fill in the blanks. But your tongue is not your friend. It will not cover for you. You know? So when you read it out loud, my mother's from Scotland, and what she used to tell me was that proper English has a rhythm like music. And if it sounds off, it is off. And that's how I've always approached it.
Lovely. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah, it's true. Like I read stuff and I'm like, oh, this is weird.
But in the mirror, what's the mirror part?
Because it keeps you from looking down and correcting it.
Oh.
Like it kind of forces you to think about, because think about when you listen to someone talking to you, you're also looking at their face, and their facial, their body language goes with the words. And when you have a collision between the body language and the written language, something's wrong.
Yeah.
The body language is hard to lie.
Interesting. Plus it would force you to slow down.
I don't know what it is exactly, but I think it's a lot to do with the body language, because if your body's trying to fake it till you make it, you know it.
Yeah. Interesting. Thanks, Catherine.
I live to serve.
I live to serve. Well, you're welcome here.
I'm a firefighter. I literally live to serve. So
yes, you do.
Oh, that's cool, Catherine.
Are you active firefighter now, or are you a volunteer?
I'm a volunteer. I lived in an all-volunteer county. There were no paid departments.
We've done
I have a 4-year degree in fire science engineering technology, which I am the oldest. I'm the 5th woman overall and the oldest graduate of the program.
Good for you.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
His birthday. And
That's
I didn't become a firefighter till I was like, I don't know, 46, 48, because that door was always shut. It just took me a long time to hammer the door down.
Heck yeah, you go.
Power.
Our old mountain home, we had a volunteer fire district too that my husband was a part of, and then he was on a Forest Service fire engine, and then he was a shot. So we know fire well, especially.
I'm probably stepping over to fire police, because at almost 64, the physicality of it's really starting to beat me up.
It's not a job for the weak of heart, that's for sure.
I went from interior to exterior, and I'm finding even exterior is starting to beat me up, because most of you won't know what this is. On the back of the truck, there's a valve that dumps the water into a water tank. If you're doing, if you don't have hydrants, you have to work out of what looks like a play pool, like a portable pool. It's called a drop tank. And the valve is called a Newton valve because it works on gravity. And you've got a space that's narrower than your shoulders that you have to get both your hands in to grab the stick and pull it down. And you're working against the weight of like 2,000 gallons of water at 8.3 pounds per gallon. And I can't do it anymore. Like I'm sitting there and I'm 5'4" and change, less than 5'4". I've shrunk. So I'm hanging on this friggin' thing and my feet aren't even on the bumper. And I'm like, I cannot budge this thing. So that's getting very frustrating.
Yeah. Well, you're amazing for what you're doing. That's awesome. Way to
Yeah,
bring
absolutely.
Thank you. Not trying to make it about me, but it's just,
No,
great. I mean, where you are right now in Colorado, or you were in Colorado, and the different places, like I studied the Storm King fire and the Man Gulch fire, you know, and they come out of Missoula, and you're like, one of these days I have to walk that because I've read it so many times, I feel like I know it.
Yeah. Yeah. We live just outside Missoula right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I really have to see this because
Yeah.
it changes everything we think about fire.
Yeah. Yeah. Those were big ones. My husband started his master's in fire science, but went to the engine.
Nice.
And, yeah. So
nice.
I understand that world. You're awesome for what you do.
Thank you.
So we got 15 minutes. Any last minute things anyone wants to bring up before I throw more questions at you?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, can you see my Christmas tree on my ceiling?
Yes.
Yes. It's so cute.
That is amazing.
I love it.
That lights up. That's how we every night we have the twinkle lights on, and that's the only lights we have in the lounge room. I love Christmas, so I just have it up there all year round, and it's out of the way. So I love
it. What a cool idea.
I have like lights, like white Christmas lights around my window, like my big dining room window.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put them.
I love that.
I just like having those gentle lights on. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Up here, those are called.
Sorry, that was just I just noticed it above my head and went, "Oh, this is my Christmas tree." Sorry.
That's awesome. What were you saying, Catherine?
I said around here they're called fairy lights.
Oh, I like it.
Oh yes.
Where are you? Where's here?
I live in New York State.
Okay.
I've also lived in North Carolina.
Where in North Carolina?
I lived outside of Charlotte for a dozen years, but I'm born and bred in the Hudson River Valley. I was born in New York City. My parents moved out when I was 3.5. I don't remember living in the city, but I've lived up and down the Hudson my entire life, except for the 12 years in North Carolina.
Got it. I was in North Carolina for a little bit too, but we weren't by Charlotte. We were by Raleigh. So
yeah. My daughter was closer to Raleigh. She went to Chapel Hill for her graduate degree.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
We used to call it Chapel Thrill until she got tired of it, and then we called it Chapel Hell.
Yeah, Chapel Hell. I've heard different things about it. I've heard varying things about it for sure. That's awesome.
It's a unique college town. It really is.
All right. Well, did anyone, since we've kind of talked about Rise of the Demigods, does anyone here have questions about VIVEET, or has everyone read VIVEET?
I'm loving it.
Okay.
It was good.
Awesome.
I like how you dropped the information about Andre in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like
So
it.
he's not just one guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he is many. I think
he's a serial kind of guy. Yeah.
He is a serial kind of guy. So I think as I've started, like, I'm just, since I'm finishing up all these books this month, I'm going to start looking after the network saga. So we have The Forgotten Gods in July. And then with that is Secret Book number 1. I don't think there's a number 2. I'm just calling it Secret Book. But that'll kind of piggyback The Forgotten Gods. So you're getting a 2-for-1 there. And then in August, we're going to do probably Alina. And
Yay.
in September will probably be Hiddleston. And then October is War of the Gods, the final one. November is Martin and Mildred. Jane's not even here.
Yay.
Martin and Mildred is in November, and then Isadora and Max will be in December.
Woohoo!
So that's kind of our launch trajectory for the year. So I've started writing The Swordmaker to kind of bring this back around. Writing The Swordmaker was great because so Swordmaker will be January 2023. Writing that a little bit was great because I was able to decide that not only am I writing the Swordmaker book separately, but I'm going to write the Shield Maiden also.
Yes.
So in February will be the Shield Maiden.
Cool.
So I think what I'm going to do is wrap up Alina and Andre in Alina. And then the Swordmaker and the Shield Maiden will be historical. I'm part of the historical collection.
Cool.
So it doesn't,
yeah.
There's no way to gracefully do that between the two of them within the context of the history. And so I'm going to wrap Alina up and then the sword maker and the shield maiden will deal with the roots of these magics as they come about, and you kind of learn more. So in Alina, you'll find out why she was cast out of the shield maidens, and like how she kind of became who she was today. So that'll be good. Awesome.
I actually look forward to the sword maker as well, because, or it might even be an Alina for all I know, but probably the sword maker, about when VIVEET has the ivy, or Leadenwood ivy, and because VIVEET glows with the blue for fire in the actual making of the sword, I have my own like visions on how that is etched in, you know what I mean, how that comes about. So I will look forward to reading about that, because I was you know, going, oh, I bet that's all to do with the magic and blah 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 blah, but I won't say more. So I look forward to however you do it.
Yeah, I think I've thought about ending the sword maker on the Andre before, like who made VIVEET, like on the creation of VIVEET in the Andre. I've thought of ending the sword maker there, but I don't know, we'll see. Like, you guys know I'm not in charge. But did any of you notice that there's a tiny little sword that's been there for so long and hasn't found the owner yet? Is anyone curious about that sword?
Yeah, because that was brought out a couple of times in VIVEET.
Yeah, there's that one little sword. I'm curious too. I don't actually know yet.
Will it be Priscilla's son's sword, maybe?
Maybe.
This person is not born yet.
That's a good thought, because I haven't thought about him a lot lately. I don't know yet who it is. I don't know yet, but I was just writing and it came out and I was like, well, that's fun. Who is this for?
Who is this guy for? Yeah.
Yes, I have ideas, but we'll see. It might spur an entirely different series. You know how that happens. Anyway, I was just curious if anyone picked up on that little baby sword.
Well, I mean, once Bianca makes her choice and does the whole family thing, that sword is waiting for the next generation.
Potentially, yeah. Yeah, if Bianca has kids.
Just itty bitty.
Yeah. So maybe it's Bianca and Merrick's daughter's sword.
Sorry, say that again, Michelle.
So maybe then it's Bianca and Merrick's daughter's sword.
And a girl, Michelle.
They're a team.
That was very subtle. That was good.
I can't answer that one. I can neither confirm nor deny, because Garrett will take it and run with it, and Andy's gonna be upset. And
nope, I was just quiet. I was being good.
And it was killing you, man.
So I mean, it's at some point the Southern Network witches are going to get their magic back. Maybe that's the sword that goes there.
So yes, no. the Southern Network witches that were alive during the breakage of the Mansfield Pact will never be able to do goddess magic again.
But they'll have a generation.
Right, but the next generation will. So eventually, yes, magic will return. The magical ability will return to the Southern Network witches.
So maybe that sword has a place there.
It's waiting. It's waiting. Yeah.
One of those young girls that's gone to somebody's school for girls.
Oh, that's what I mean. Like, that tiny little sword on the wall could have just spurred an entire new series that I don't know about. Sometimes I feel like writing books is like accessing this world that I once inhabited, but I don't remember. Because, no, I'm not kidding. Like, it's like there's a different part of me that like knew all of these stories, because sometimes I just get this like rando idea that comes out of nowhere. And then I'm talking to Kelsey. I don't know if you guys remember Kelsey. And all of a sudden, like, it connects. It's like I knew it, right? And we'll have this like huge moment where she's like, you didn't plan that? And I'm like, no, I didn't plan that. Like, it just happened. And then like this will happen. Like, this sword just pops up on the wall. And I'm like, what's that sword for? I don't know. And then all of a sudden I'm like, well, there's this whole new series.
With Freud,
I love it.
Say about your
well, we're not complaining. We're not complaining.
You're right, Catherine. It is in my subconscious. I think it knows more than I do. That's for sure. Anyway, So that'll be, I'll let you know when I figure it out, but it can't be before February of next year because I'm all booked out for stories.
We'll be the second to know. Got it.
I know, yes, yes. When I know, you'll know.
So Katie, wasn't there a book that you were going to do, The Advocate? Is that no longer?
It's so good. Yes, The Advocate needs to happen too. And who knows, that might get nudged in front of Swordmakers. Well, no, it has to happen. Swordmaker has to happen first because people are already buying it.
I was gonna say.
I like put it on the website and I like navigated away for 5 minutes and there's like all these sales already. And I'm like, okay, people are excited about this. I think Advocate will probably come either right after Swordmaker. I really wanted the Advocate to come with Martin, Mildred, and Isidore and Max because it sort of completes that, because the Advocate takes place like during the Dragon Master, like before and sort of after the Dragon Master trilogy. So I don't know. We'll just see how pushy the Advocate gets. They get really pushy.
Well, you haven't even got halfway through the year yet, so anything can happen.
Sorry.
Good
question.
Yes.
There's another author that I proofread for who's, we're not going to talk about who it is because it doesn't really matter who it is. And what he does now is he has this huge Friendsgiving kind of thing over the summer where he lives, like in the town area that he lives, not at his house, obviously, because we don't need, people stalking the family and fangirling, or fanboying or whatever you want to call it. And I know, like in an earlier broadcast, we talked about you going to cons and things when your kids are a little older.
Yeah.
Maybe something a little closer to home, like, what's the Longmire has the Longmire days.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Other different authors have these like little enclaves things.
Yeah.
Rex Stout's group years ago, if you even know who Rex Stout is, with the Nero Wolf books, they had the Wolf Pack, and they would go to the different places that were in the
fun.
And I think
when are we going to Alkarran?
You know what I'm saying? But they get together and they do these they do like a fan convention.
Yeah.
If you can't, if Mohammed can't go to the mountain comes to Mohammed.
Amen.
So I don't know, maybe something like that while your kids are growing up.
We just talked about, like, it must have been right before you came on. We talked about doing like a retreat, like
Yeah,
where
I'm
we
sorry
got together in
about
like a
missing
retreat
that.
or something.
I
Yeah,
don't want to be at work.
I think that would be super fun. Yeah, that's on my mind. That's on my mind. What the details are, it'll suss out over time. This year, we're getting a lot of books out, but as that happens, I kind of have my eye on some sort of way of gathering all of you into the same place for us to have fun together. So yeah, it's on my mind for sure.
I think the last
Iowa sounds pretty good in Central.
We'll husk some corn.
The one they did over the pandemic, what they did was they live cast them. For the people that could go there, they went, and for the people who obviously couldn't go there, they had, times when it was on air and they could participate virtually.
Yeah.
And apparently, like, it took off. I mean, it was like a little thing the first time they did it, and I was in on the planning stages of that, and it became this massive thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's taken on a life of its own.
I have authors in my network that have and are doing the same thing now. I plan to build toward that over the next couple of years as the growth kind of happens organically, like as we find our people. And then depending on what's happening with these other avenues that have interest in Bianca, that can kind of grow out from there. So yeah, it's definitely on my mind. But
so Katie,
yeah,
with the Advocate, would that be like what Maximilian and Charles and those guys are doing?
Yes.
Am I correct in that?
It's the story of the Advocate as you see it in the Dragon Master. Okay. So it starts when Charles and Max first meet.
Okay. Oh, that would be awesome. That would be awesome.
Actually, for Charles and Max, there's actually this whole other story going on. And the reason I wanted to launch the Advocate around the same time is because it really impacts Max and Isadora in the follow-up book that I've promised you. So because Charles like has his own story that's running in the background as all of that happens in the Dragon Master trilogy. So
Yeah.
Advocate just goes basically into that. He has like I won't say any more than that. I'm just gonna say that.
Okay.
Well, like it's all
Well, it looks like you've got another book this year for us then.
I know, guys, I've told you this it's a problem. Like it is a problem because I have so many ideas and Alkarran can just go, and it's just growing huge, which is phenomenal. But I can't keep up with myself. I can't, like that's the problem. So that's why I sort of say, here's what I have. Here's like the picture of what I have moving forward. And this is how it could lay out, but I'm gonna let the books decide because inevitably I get stuck on an idea and then the idea grows and we gotta go. So I might start writing Max and Isadora and then I have to entwine Charles and then I have to do them together. That might end up how it's working out. So anyway.
Do we ever get to find out what Sana did afterwards? I find her more interesting than Isadora.
So, ooh, I like that, Mystic.
I've always liked Sana a lot better.
I love Sana.
Not that I don't like
Sana.
Isadora, but Sana always seems far more interesting.
I probably more strongly with Sana for sure. I think I do too.
I love Sana.
Sana's definitely more Bianca-esque, right? So yeah, well, the thing about Sana is she kind of got her happily ever after, so to speak, in that, she's like with her dragon in the forest and we know where she ends. So not that nothing happens in between, but there isn't a driving like possibility of failure for Sana like there is for Max, because we don't actually know anything of you don't know what happened to Max, right? You just know that they promised, they ended up deciding that they would get together and then he's gone by the time we see his story again. So there is a story there and it's been in my head since I wrote the Dragon Master trilogy. So Sana doesn't have that same thing, but there is the growth of her and Ludius and the dragons and the fallout of the magic and that kind of stuff to cover. So Sana has to be a part of it. There's no writing one sister witch for sure. So in my head, as I picture it and as I've been thinking it out, Sana and Isadora sort of intertwined. So we kind of see both, but it's really an Isadora and Max story. So you'll see Sana in it, but the plot is Isadora and Max. So it is the most requested book I've ever had. I get emails all the time requesting Isadora and Max. Not as much about Sana. Most people will take any continuation, but specifically readers are always asking for Isadora and Max, which is really interesting to me. Go
Max
ahead.
is a really fascinating character. I mean, he doesn't give up a lot of himself, and you really have to process everything to connect the dots. And there's so much in between.
Right, and that's where the advocate is so important too, because there's no way to separate Max from Charles, because of the way they came together to form the advocacy and the impact that Charles had. So who knows? I'll probably end up releasing them both at the same time.
And the fun thing about Max is that he doesn't give a whole lot of himself, but he gives by what he does. It's almost like he projects his personality by what he does.
Yeah.
For others.
Right.
He tries to subsume himself, but it just keeps coming through in his actions.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. He's trying to project a different picture, but we all know he's actually a really good guy. Yeah.
And I think with Isadora, they probably want to know what happened, because I don't know if anyone else feels this way, but the old lady in in her house with her teacups is very different from who she used to be as a girl. And you could see by the last book, she's a bit more confident in her powers and stuff, but I still don't necessarily see how she retired to a cottage in the woods.
Right. He's 100 years.
Well, yeah. But Sana still stayed Sana. She's still cantankerous and living, so for her, she hasn't really. Maybe that's why they don't need a continuation, because she was obviously living her life as who she was. But Isadora seems to have gone through
that's what I mean. For Sana, it's Sana's still Sana. Right?
Thing, yeah.
Sana began and ended the same way. That's kind of what I mean. Yes, Sana will be included, but we know where Sana ended and it's right where she wanted to be, right? Yeah. I mean, there's some of her story that people want to know about Ludius and stuff, but really for Isadora, there is a lot of difference. And I think you're right. I think you nailed it. People want to see really what happened between them. And Max's weakness in that he doesn't open up and doesn't speak about himself, and he has this ugly history behind him, is actually like a big issue. You know, it's one thing for Max to say to Isadora, like, I don't want you to go. Like, he basically says to her, I want you to stay. Like, I don't want you to end the hand fasting. I will if you want to. And she decides to stay. That's an entirely different matter altogether than like going into a house together and living there, you know, like him giving up his space and his routines and stuff. Right. So my gut tells me we're going to be picking up like right as the Dragon Master trilogy ended. So we're going to see the issues like starting, because now Isadora has to actually figure out her life. The network is dissolving into this Mansfeld pack that has to be built up, and there's a lot going on. But Sana got what she wanted, right? Like, she's with her dragon
out in the woods somewhere. Yeah.
Isadora is your agent of change. She's the one that's going to move the story forward.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Sana was always a little more static in my brain after the Dragon Master trilogy, for sure. But I need to go meet with Mr. Derek Sidaway on the books that we're co-writing. I was supposed to meet them at 8, but I was like, sorry, 8:30. So anyway, this was awesome. Thank you so much for coming and talking about Rise of the Demigods. I want to do this at like after every like major novel launch, just so I can hear what you guys think. So probably about a month after the Bianca books launch, we'll be doing like book chats about them, so that we have a place to talk about spoilers. And you're really gonna need one after the Forgotten Gods. So we might
we can say, "Yay, Baxter won."
You might need one after Derek.
Was that Jean Marie?
Yes. Seriously, it's great that you're.
She's on the dark side again.
Well, you guys will probably need one after Derek, and then we'll do one after the Forgotten Gods.
Okay, do we need Kleenex and everything? Are we like going to need a full box of Kleenex on some of these, or what's the scoop?
I think
oh, Katie!
On Derek, no, remember, Derek ends on the life or death cliffhanger, so you don't know.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so you don't know.
Yeah.
The Forgotten Gods, I think you will. Lila will for sure.
Oh no, Lila!
So thanks for letting us.
Absolutely.
Because there's a lot of people you get to read that you don't really get this part of it.
Yeah.
And I find this very cool myself.
I'm so glad. Yeah,
me too.
Yeah, I'm so glad all of you come. We're like the Alkarran family now.
All of us old YA people, yeah.
I think the number one thing I hear is, I'm not your average reader. And they're like, because I'm over 50 or 70. And I'm like, actually, like you are.
70 is the new tween, yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Well, according to my grandma or my granddaughter, I'm just the greatest person in the world because I know somebody famous, Miss Katie.
I'm happy to help anytime. And now you're about to get a sword, right?
I know. She's gonna just flip. My granddaughter's gonna flip. She's just gonna go, I'm a really cool beans.
That's awesome.
This is the time to push her into fencing.
With your little letter opener.
There you go.
That's awesome. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
See you later.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, Katie.
Bye.